Good evening. Hello, hello, hello. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Again for another quick video. We are going through the chapters of Made Whole, and this evening we'll be talking about Sickness Happens. That is chapter 3, Sickness Happens, and it's me giving my personal story on the diagnosis that I received and that experience, and just really fighting with myself during that time. And although my sickness may not be your sickness, my diagnosis, could be different from yours. We have some that experience physical illness, some experience mental, illness, emotional illness. So in the end, God heals, all emotions, all sickness, all diseases the same. So that's why we are going to dive into that. So for the most part, I'm pretty healthy. During this time, I had not had any real health issues outside of like discovering a heart murmur during high school. And I was on the band during that time, and that's when, during some complications, went to the doctor. They said I had this heart murmur. Outside of that, healthy, normal female. My weight, I've always been small. I've heard that all my life, specifically from family members who act like, you can't see yourself in the mirror. They just have to remind you, oh, you're so skinny. You're just so skinny. And I made a comment in my book on how, just like large people don't like to hear that they are fat, small people don't like to hear that they are skinny. But nevertheless, that's not why we're here. But yeah, pretty healthy. Get up every day. I have the energy. Nothing is wrong. And then boom, all of a sudden, life changes like instantly. I go into details in the book, like the specifics on what took place when I received the diagnosis, but I literally went from having no pain, chilling at home, relaxing for the night, to being in the emergency room, and then from there having to stay overnight for observation. And it was like an emotional toy because, like I said, I don't have anything going on with me. So what is this about? Life has really changed. Um, I went to the doctor. Like I said, I went for observation. They gave me the diagnosis of endometriosis. And well, rewind. At that particular hospital visit, I did not receive the diagnosis during that time frame. During that time frame, it was just that I had an ovarian cyst that ruptured, and that there were others that I was dealing with. So the plan during that time was that they put me on an antibiotic to see if those other cysts will dissolve on its own. And it was pretty much a waiting game. The end result was, if nothing happens or they get larger, we may have to do surgery. So I went through a time period of dealing with that, being on medication, the antibiotics, and nothing changed in that time frame. They didn't get larger, but the cyst also did not get smaller. So again, the end result was having surgery, which I did opt for to have. And it was at that surgery when I received the diagnosis of endometriosis. It was also a surgery that took away my left ovary and fallopian tube. So the surgery was done laparoscopically, and I was supposed to be returning home that same day, same day surgery, go home, heal in about, 3 weeks, and you're fine. But no, that was not the case for me. So again, life turned around really fast. I am in the hospital room, and because of the complications that took place in the surgery of removing the ovarian cyst and having to have my fallopian tube and my ovary removed, it went from being a same day surgery to now staying in the hospital. And just learning the terms and the diagnosis that I was given, it was like, like that Charlie Brown, like, I see your mouth moving, but I cannot even process all that you're saying to me. It definitely brought on, which I feel like for anyone that receives a diagnosis like in the drop of a dime, you're going to be fearful. You're scared. You are worried. You have doubt. You are paranoid. Like, all of the things is in your mind, and you're dealing with all of these thoughts at one time. It is a scary thing for anyone that receives any type of medical illness or diagnosis, because like I said, life happens fast. I was pain free to 10 out of 10 pain take me to the hospital, to going weeks on this medicine that's not helping, to having a same day surgery that turned into no, like, things happened, complications took place, and now here we are. And not to discredit anyone that has illnesses that shows externally, but for those that deal with like an internal illness, the endometriosis, MS, like lupus, those type of things that are within, those patients tend to deal with life a little harder, because it's like no one can see what you're dealing with. So it's like you're having to process your pain and your emotions, and people just like, it's like they don't get it. And you're trying to explain, well, I have this that has happened to me. I deal with this, and because of that, I have XYZ as symptoms. I am fatigued. My body is hurting. I am in pain. Like, and I think because people don't see necessarily a disability of some sort, that it doesn't resonate with them. But the pain is definitely there. It's debilitating. And it alters your day-to-day activities. It alters how you show up at work. It alters how you just show up at home. And then, you deal with the emotional part of having to put on the smile, put on this face that says, I'm fine, I'm well, but you're hurting. So in this space, I have this new diagnosis that I am struggling with. I have pain, physical pain that I have to deal with. But I'm smiling on the outside because yes, I'm grateful, but also, me being the person that I am, I don't like attention. So I'm good. That's my answer. I'm good. I'm okay. Like, back up off me. I'm all right. But yeah, so I have this new diagnosis, and with the diagnosis came a medication. Again, I explained that story in the book as far as what the details of the diagnosis, the details of the medicine that I was put on. But I will say that one of the side effects of the medicine that the doctors put me on was being in like I was in menopause. So I was experiencing night sweats. I was experiencing hot flashes. All of these things are going on. And I think I'm like 27 at the time. I could be about 26, 27. But here I am, not even 30, and I'm having hot flashes and I'm having night sweats and I'm at work. At this time, like I said, I'm in my career. So I'm a physical therapist assistant at this time, working in a geriatric population and trying to explain, not even to my patients, but just coworkers in general, that I'm having a hot flash. And they judge you because they're like, you too young for that. Like, what are you talking about? You don't even know what hot flashes are. And it's like, you have no idea what my body is going through in the moment. And I'm trying to save face. I'm trying to be open and okay because they don't know the story. And I can either educate them on the story or I could just, pass it by and not even go into detail. But that's also another thing. As far as I'm not only battling my new diagnosis that I just received, but now I'm battling the day-to-day life activity with the diagnosis and plus the medication that I am on top of that. And I'm battling having to explain day to day to people when I have to say I wake up in the middle of the night with my bed soaking wet because I've had night sweats all night or I'm experiencing a hot flash. And they judge because you're too young for that. You're not even 30 yet. What are you talking about? Do I go down the list of saying, I just got a diagnosis of endometriosis, and my endometriosis is being treated by this drug that now has me experiencing these side effects. So it could be a mental turmoil going back and forth with you processing what is happening with you while also trying to educate and put on face for those that are around. I understand the complexity of it and how we want to be gracious because yes, we are living. We want to be gracious because God can do anything. We have our faith, but the natural sense of us, the natural part of us, like I said, we are afraid. We are angry. We are upset. We are paranoid. There are different feelings and emotions that this brings onto us. So I will say that during this time of receiving, my medical diagnosis and going through these particular effects from not only the diagnosis but of the medication, is having a strong circle of support that is there for you. You want someone that you can just be vulnerable around. You want to have people around you that you don't have to be strong around, that they hear you, that they see you, and that they let you be you. Again, I'm 27 during this time frame, and I have a healthy lifestyle. And I go from having a normal night throughout the week, relaxing, getting ready for the workday, to ending up in a hospital, to having surgery, to being on this medication. And it's like my thought processes hasn't even had time to catch up with themselves. My emotions are spilling over. They're all jumbled up together. But I am thankful for the circle that I had during that time. Being sick, which I felt like deserved its own chapter in the book, Sickness Happens, because when sickness does happen, some of us, I know for me, I'm going to speak personally, but I'm sure that there are others that if anything happens, like I said, this isn't even about just being physically sick, but you have emotional illnesses, you have mental illnesses, but you sometimes question, why me? And that was the question that I had for God. Why me? Why am I experiencing this? What took place for me to have to go through this? I am young. I am successful. I am in my career. I'm on my own. I'm doing all of the things that I know to do. And then I get hit with this. I was real. I'm being real now. Like, I went to God and was like, I don't understand why I got picked for this. And I'm sure that that is a common thought or a common question that anybody that suffers from anything goes to God and asks. For me, like I said, when I had the surgery that removed my ovary and fallopian tube, now I'm questioning. I am young. I am not married. I don't have any kids. What is this about? During the times I am slowly approaching 30, during that time, you have people that look at you. Are you married? You don't have kids? Why you don't have kids? It's like people gonna be people. And they get in there, they get in your business, or they want to get in your business and be asking questions, and they don't understand tact. They don't understand that because I am 30 and not married, don't have kids, don't mean that I don't necessarily want to. But let's be sensitive with knowing that some people experience things that allow them not to have those things. And you cannot make me feel bad, because that's what they do. Because now, like I say, I go to God and I'm like, why am I experiencing this? And I feel like you're taking away the chance of me having children. So now I'm at this point where I feel like I'm kind of less of a woman because my reproductive system has been compromised. And like I said, it doesn't help when you have outsiders just asking questions like they again, people. Why you don't have kids yet? When you gonna get married? You don't want no kids? You don't necessarily have to be married to have no kids. Like, all out of order. I did not ask you for your commentary. Thank you. But here we are. Okay. So, again, sickness happens, whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, emotionally. Things take place where we are perfectly fine, we are perfectly normal, and then boom, like life happens and it shakes us up. And in that moment, we have all of the emotions, we have all of the fears, we have all of the doubts, the paranoias, and I'm going to God and asking why. Why did you pick me? Am I being punished for some sin that I did, that you led me to this? And now I'm on a hospital table and I'm having my ovary and fallopian tube removed. And now the doctor's is like, well, we got to come up with a game plan for if you want to have children because, now everything is being compromised. I don't want to hear what the doctors say. I don't want pity from anyone else. So I'm internalizing everything, shutting down my emotions, smiling in the face of others, pretending that I'm fine, but yet I still feel pain from the endometriosis diagnosis. I still have side effects going on from medications that I'm taking. I am sure that people that have had an illness or still struggle with an illness knows exactly what I'm talking about. I went to God and I'm like, surely I am being punished for something that I did. I mean, I'm 20 at this point. Like I said, I'm 27. So I've done a lot of wrong in my college days specifically. Maybe I partied too much. Maybe I drank too much. Like maybe I hooked up with the wrong person too. Like now I'm internalizing all of these thoughts because surely I failed at something. And now I feel less of a woman because the thing that we are priding ourselves on, bearing children and reproducing, that has been compromised. I understand that with endometriosis, that is not the only diagnosis that can cause some fertility issues or just, body altering conditions as well. There are a lot others. Again, they are like internal, no physical disability to the eye, but people suffer from illnesses on the inside. And they are, maybe having to explain why they don't have this, or they have to explain why they can't work full time, or they're having to explain why they're fatigued all the time. And people just don't get it. But at the end of the day, it's not for people to get. We can educate if we like, but we cannot hold ourselves to other people's ignorance. And we can't let them determine the course of our life, and we cannot let them determine our belief and our faith because of what they lack or don't understand. So fast forward, I have, this is going on, but I do have a small chance of having children because, like I said, only one reproductive, only one fallopian tube and one ovary was removed. So now I still have one. But guess what I did? I hooked up because now I'm going to play God and put myself in relationships so I can hurry up and have those children and get married like the people keep asking me to. Like, I am going to fix this on my own, and I am going to get into relationships, and I'm going to persuade somebody to love me, and let's get married and let's have kids because I'm on a timeline and my doctor says I need to hurry up and do this. Like doctors have the final say. But when you have not processed your emotions and talk through anything, you start making up stuff. It just sounds good. I mean, yeah, the doctors say that, but they're not the final person. But I took what they said as law, and I'm also thinking I'm gonna get with someone that already has kids, because if they have kids, the more that they have, the less that I have to have. So that sounds like a perfect game plan, God. Yeah, let's do that. No, that's not it. That's not it. But I rushed the idea of getting married and having children based on a situation, based on a diagnosis, instead of going to God and letting it play out. I pretty much was like, I'm going to fix this on my own. Exactly. We mess up when we try and do things on our own because it's logic. However, God does not work on logic, He works on faith. And nothing God does half the time is logic, because what? How did you make that happen? That don't even go together. But that's how God works. So I am doing things from a logical standpoint in a timeline that society puts us on. And your thing may not be having children or having a family or starting anything like how mine was. But what is it that we receive? What kind of news do we get? And it makes us act out of order. It makes us show up and take control. God, I came to you. However, I came up with this game plan, and it goes in this order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that work for me. Okay. I want you to bless it though. Put your name on it, put your stamp on it. But yeah, I've researched everything. I researched it all. It makes perfect sense. I mean, the doctors say that this is fine. Google, because we'll Google up something in a minute. Google says that I can do this and this will work. So this is what I'm going to go through. I took myself out of alignment by doing my own will versus going to Him and doing life through His will. Because now I'm trying to make life happen the way that I want it to, and not based on Him. Rewind back, this diagnosis, once I received it and became more open about it, I realized that other family members has had this same diagnosis as well. So now I'm thinking, ain't no way all the ladies in my family got this going on. First of all, why nobody talks about this? Why nobody talks about the history that's in the family bloodline and what I could possibly face once I get a certain age? But everybody's like, oh, you'll be fine. So-and-so had that. They had kids. Don't worry about it. Oh, you'll be fine. It's okay. Like, nobody's did any research. Nobody found a way to break this. But breaking generational curses and trauma and all that things will come up later in another life. But yeah, And now I'm listening to them tell me how they've handled their situation. It's okay, girl. Just do this. You'll be fine. It's all right. I had that too, girl. It's okay. But what was wrong was that I went to people and not go to God for his answers, for his understanding, for him to tell me how to deal with this sickness that I have. And how not to go into relationships, but search and get in a relationship with him and let him be the fulfillment instead of going to outsiders, filling voids with people that not supposed to be responsible for filling voids. I'm going to read just a little, maybe a paragraph or two. Okay. Being given this diagnosis and having no idea what it was or how it worked, I wanted to take matters into my own hands. I educated myself so much on endometriosis that I felt I had all the answers. I was going to set my own life up based on the information I had. What I know now is that sometimes what we know hinders God from doing his work. Because again, like I say, we're based in everything on logic, and God does not operate in logic. I only had a short time to fall in love and get married so I can jump on the baby train. It wasn't a problem in what I wanted. I wanted good things to happen for me. I just wanted it in the moment versus later. When it didn't happen according to my timeline, I remember asking and thinking, when, God, when? That question alone showed lack of trust and lack of faith. When we take matters into our own hands, it's like we want God to get off of his seat. We say we have faith, we say we trust, but working in our own will takes his hand off and shows that we really don't have the faith that we think we have. This particular chapter talks about sickness, but it ends with the idea of knowing that we have to put our energy into God. We can't put our energy into other people. Now, I want us to have a circle. I want us to have community and people that actually mean us well, that we can talk to, and that can serve us good, that can support us. Don't run away from support. Know who to do life with during your struggles, during your hard times. But you also have to know that God is the one who ultimately heals. He is the one that delivers, and that our faith and that our trust is to be in him. Trust the one who knows all things. Trust the one that heals. We have to have the craziest faith ever. And based on the book, this came later. I'm glad my friend, 2 people on here know this, but last year, so again, doctor's reports has been haywire since this whole time frame. Last year, my doctor told me that I was in perimenopause. That's what he said. I think it was postmenopause. I did lab work after lab work after lab work. And they're just like, at this point, your ovaries your one ovary that you have is completely shut down. Like, it ain't working no more. And knowing now what I know versus what I knew then, which led to me writing this chapter in the book, I was like, the devil is a lie. You can say what you want to say, doctor. And I told the doctor, was like, you need to go to genetic counseling and figure out, what's in your genes. We need to do blood work and we got to do this. And I looked at them people and I said, I know that you're doing your job, but this is a generational curse that has to be broken. You can take the blood work that you want to take, but I already know that this can be broken off of me. Yes, there are family members with this, but this is not going to be my portion. So I let them draw the blood work. I let them do all the things, and everything came back normal in the sense of, well, I don't know why you would be in postmenopause. I don't know why you would be in ovarian failure because your numbers are showing normal. And I'm like, I told y'all that. I mean, I let y'all do what y'all had to do, but I already told y'all this right here is not a medical thing. Like, this is not science. This is something that God has to prove his point on. Okay? So time goes by, and y'all, sorry guys, but my cycle that was not supposed to come on because I'm in ovarian failure at this point came on. I didn't do anything. I did not try to manipulate God the way that I did during this season of my life when I was trying to get with this person, that person, to make a relationship happen and to have children and manipulate God's timeline. I took my hand off. I got to this point and things happened on its own in God's timing. How big is your faith to let God do what he does and be God and not get in his way and not try to manipulate timelines, not try to manipulate what we're going to do, but let him have his work. When we let him have his work, when we take our hands off, it gives him free range to show up. And let me tell you, God likes to show up. Okay, he likes being magnified. He likes being glorified. So if you let him do his due, he likes being like, oh my God, let me tell you what God did for me. Like, he likes when we tell the stories and put his name on it. Like, yeah, girl, that was me. Your dad did that. So to close this out, I just want to say, give God your biggest faith. I know that it is hard, especially in the beginning, because emotions are in play. You're hearing everything. Doctors are in your ear. People are in your ear. Go to that circle of people that can speak life into you, that can give you your increase in your faith. Live out in obedience and don't waver, because healing is your portion if you faint not. I promise you. The testimonies can be so real. And if you do not see a deliverance in your diagnosis itself, you can still live fruitful. You can still live in abundance. You can still live like healthy, even with a so-called diagnosis on your record. Because I'm going to tell you now, you're not going to come around me and think that I'm ill or that I'm sick, because I'm just living life out loud. I don't care what my medical chart may say, but God has given me energy. He has given me a healthy space. He has given me the things that I did not have at that time. He's given it to me now. And yeah, so healing is your portion. I am going to read one last thing. It is a scripture in James, and we can close out till tomorrow. It says, this is James 5:14 through 16. And it says, are any of you sick? You should call for the elders of the church to come and pray over you, anointing you with oil in the name of the Lord. Such a prayer offered in faith will heal the sick, and the Lord will make you well. And if you have committed any sins, you will be forgiven. Confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The earnest prayer of a righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results. Y'all, go get your people, go get your elders, your community, your circle. Go before God and produce wonderful results. You all have a great night. Thank you for listening in, and see you later. Bye.